What happens when you meet a beautiful woman wearing a surgical mask on a deserted street at night? Welcome to Sherlock Mode. In the quiet streets of Japan, an ancient terror lurks in the shadows, waiting for unsuspecting victims. She appears as an ordinary woman at first, tall, slender, with long black hair cascading down her back. The only peculiarity is the surgical mask covering the lower half of her face, common in Japan, yet somehow unsettling. She approaches with a soft, cat-like voice and asks a simple question that will determine your fate. What is she, Kirai? Am I beautiful? The question hangs in the air like a death sentence. This is KuchisakeOnna, the slit-mouthed woman, one of Japan's most terrifying urban legends. Her origins stretch back centuries, with roots in Japan's Heian period over 1,000 years ago. The most common tale tells of a samurai's beautiful wife whose vanity and infidelity sealed her gruesome fate. Discovering her betrayal, her husband flew into a jealous rage, taking his sword and slashing her mouth from ear to ear. "Who will think you're beautiful now?" he taunted as she bled to death, her once perfect face forever mutilated. But death was not the end for this wronged woman. She returned as an onryo, a vengeful spirit seeking retribution. For centuries, her story remained dormant, a cautionary tale about the dangers of vanity and infidelity. Then, in 1978, something extraordinary happened in Gifu Prefecture that would change Japan forever. The first reported sighting came from an elderly woman in the rural town of Yatsu, who claimed to have seen a strange figure. On January 26, 1979, the Gifu Daily newspaper published the first media account of the KuchisakeOnna. Like wildfire, the story spread throughout Japan, evolving with each telling, growing more terrifying with each whisper. By summer 1979, Japan was in the grip of mass hysteria. Children refused to walk home alone from school. Police increased patrols. Teachers escorted students home in groups. Parents lived in constant fear for their children. The panic was so severe that schools closed early, and children were forbidden from going outside alone. But what exactly were they afraid of? What happens when you encounter the slit-mouthed woman? The encounter always begins the same way. She approaches and asks, "Am I beautiful?" Your answer seals your fate. If you answered no, she immediately pulls out her scissors and cuts you in half or decapitates you on the spot. If you answer yes, she removes her mask, revealing her horrific Glasgow smile, a mouth slit from ear to ear. "How about now?" she asks, her voice distorted by her grotesque wound, blood dripping from her eternal grin. If you scream or say no now, she cuts you in half with her scissors. There is no escape from her supernatural speed. If you say yes again, she spares your life momentarily, only to follow you home and murder you in your sleep. But Japanese schoolchildren, in their collective wisdom, discovered ways to survive an encounter with KuchisakeOnna. One method is to answer her question ambiguously, "You're average," or "You're so-so," confusing her long enough to escape. Another is to throw hard candies called become at her, which she cannot resist stopping to pick up. The strangest method is to say the word pomade 3 times, which supposedly makes her flee in terror. This bizarre weakness stems from a modern version of her origin, a botched plastic surgery where the surgeon used pomade. As the panic reached its peak in 1979, strange incidents began to occur throughout Japan. On June 21, 1979, a 25-year-old woman with a tear-shaped mouth was arrested for threatening children with a knife. Was she a copycat inspired by the legend, or was something more sinister at work? The line between fact and fiction blurred. In 2007, a coroner reportedly found records from the late 1970s describing a woman hit by a car while chasing children. Her mouth was ripped from ear to ear in the accident. Could this have been the real KuchisakeOnna? The legend grew so powerful that it transcended Japan's borders, spreading to South Korea in 2004 as the Red Mask Woman. Korean children reported being chased by a woman in a red surgical mask who asked the same terrifying question. The KuchisakeOnna phenomenon reveals how urban legends reflect our deepest societal fears and anxieties. In Japan, a society that has traditionally placed high value on female beauty and conformity, her disfigurement is particularly horrifying. Her question, "Am I beautiful?" forces victims to make a judgment that will doom them either way. The legend has inspired numerous films, including the 2007 horror movie Carved, The SlitMouthed Woman. Directed by Koji Shiraishi, the film explores how the vengeful spirit possesses mothers who abuse their children. The movie suggests that KuchisakeOnna targets abusive parents, adding a layer of moral complexity to the legend. But perhaps the most terrifying aspect of KuchisakeOnna is her supernatural abilities that make escape nearly impossible. She can run at inhuman speeds 100 meters in just 6 seconds and teleport in front of those who try to flee. No matter how fast you run, when you look back, she's always there, scissors in hand, asking her eternal question. Today, KuchisakeOnna remains one of Japan's most enduring urban legends, a cautionary tale that continues to terrify. So if you find yourself walking alone on a foggy night in Japan and hear a soft voice ask, "Am I beautiful?" what will you say? Let us analyze the evidence behind this chilling legend that continues to haunt Japan's collective consciousness. The 1979 panic was real, documented in newspapers like Gifu Daily and Weekly Asahi, which reported multiple sightings. Police records confirm increased patrols and school escorts during this period, showing the tangible impact of mass hysteria. Psychologists suggest the legend resonated so deeply because it embodied Japan's complex relationship with beauty standards. The scissors she carries symbolize both feminine crafts and the violent severing of traditional female beauty. Her surgical mask, now commonplace in Japan, represents the thin barrier between normality and horror. Most compelling is how the legend adapts to each generation's fears, from samurai tales to modern plastic surgery nightmares. Whether KuchisakeOnna exists as a supernatural entity or merely as a manifestation of cultural anxiety, her power is undeniable. The question remains, in a world where beauty is both valued and weaponized, who is the real monster? If you enjoyed unraveling this mystery, like and subscribe to Sherlock Mode.